people who've known me, you know that when I started YouTube, when I started podcasts, one of the things I've been a huge advocate for was self-awareness. Self-awareness. I like to call what we're doing right now, when you're listening to this in audio form or when you're watching this on YouTube, I call this the journey to self-awareness. Why? Because I believe throughout life you're constantly changing. You're constantly evolving. And what this will end up doing is, every day when you change, you get to know yourself a little bit better. You get to know what your strengths are, you get to know what your weaknesses are, you get to work on yourself, and you get to adapt and improve. If you will, update yourself like a phone. Now, my friends, the reason why this is called the journey to self-awareness, in all honesty, is I'm super big in motivational videos. Shocker. So I'm watching a bunch of these motivational videos, and I believe it was Tony Robbins who used this word a bunch of times. He said, we're on the journey to personal growth. This is the journey to self-development. This is the journey to self-care. So I had that thought in my head, the journey, and my biggest role model in 2019, easily, Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk, came on there and said, you know what, I'm so big on self-awareness. So guess what? Gary Vaynerchuk's self-awareness, Tony Robbins is the journey to self-awareness. Woo! All right, my friends. So why am I feeling so excited? Maybe I'm super passionate about what I'm talking about. That's why. Find yourself someone who gets you to talk like I'm talking to you right now. Find yourself, forget it. Forget what I'm about to say. Anyways, my friends, what I mean to say is self-awareness is basically what we want to do is we want to look at the thoughts that are in your subconscious, right? Thoughts that you don't consciously think about. Could be certain beliefs that you have, could be certain plans and goals that you have, but because of either you postponing or because of the environment that you're in, you keep pushing them off and you don't actually confront them. So what the journey to self-awareness is meant to do is just meant to stir your brain. It's meant to be almost a reflective thing, right? Where we have a conversation, a one-sided conversation, mind you, for now, and basically just bring those things from the subconscious to the forefront so you can think about those things. Because consciously, before you can think about, okay, what's my next move? Whether you want to talk about business move, whether you want to talk about health move, relationship move, before you even want to contemplate of how big do I step, which way do I step, you have to acknowledge the fact and be aware that you want to step, that you want to take a step in a certain direction. Where do you get that from? In your subconscious. Because deep down, you know what you want. You know what you want out of life. You know which way you got to go. And even if you have to think about it, it's deeply suppressed. All you got to do is just sit down and just think. Just get your thoughts out. Articulate, whether like what I'm doing to you right now, whether it's on with a paper and a pen, whatever you got to do. But my friends, really, self-awareness is everything. You have to know, whether you're talking about AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or any other rehabilitation group, the very, very first step that any self-development book or any book based on therapy or counseling, it says step one is awareness. You have to be aware of what's going on. You have to be able to say, there's a problem here, or I want my goal to be, or I think the next step should be. You have to be aware. Because if you're not aware, how do you deal with something that you don't know exists? Right? How can you look at a color if you don't actually acknowledge that the color exists? How does that work? It doesn't, my friends, it doesn't. So really, I think when a lot of people talk about, using perspective and looking at the world in a beautiful way, and whenever they talk about, looking at the shades of gray, a lot of it is going back to self-awareness. It's knowing who you are, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and then based on that, that's how you take forward. Based on who you are, that's how you decide your game plan. The first thought, who am I? What do I like to do? Who do I like to hang around with? What are my values? Secondly, who do I want to be in the future? What does he look like? What are his values? Who does he hang around? What are his mannerisms? My friends, in order to it's one thing to have the destination, but if you don't even know where you're starting, it's going to hurt. Imagine having a map that you're looking at and you go, okay, this is where I want to go. But there's no you are here. You kind of have to eye it, and it's really, really hard. And it is so much easier when you look at those maps that say clearly, this is where you want to go, this is mountain so-and-so, you are here. The path is here. Everything just lines up so much smoother, my friends. Unbelievably, like you would not imagine. So, my friends, self-awareness, why self-awareness the key? Is because self-awareness is the foundation for everything and anything. You want to move in any which way direction, first you have to have a stable foundation. You got to know who you are. You got to know the tools at your disposal, and self-awareness is that. Self-awareness is what shows you your biggest weaknesses so you can work on them, improve them, and be better today than you were yesterday. So, my friends, I thank you for being on the journey to self-awareness. This is why you're here.